We're back with the Probe, episode 7 with Duke freshman Cameron Reddish. Reddish talent is undeniable and is tailor made for the NBA. His combination of size, skill, athleticism, and versatility just exudes all NBA potential. Seeing Reddish throughout high school as a 6'8" point guard doing it all, playing a national schedule, you could see how special of a player he was. In college, he had to sacrifice that aspect of his game, obviously, to make things work with Trey Jones and RJ Barrett when it came to ball handling and playmaking duties. So it's not surprising that people overlook his playmaking ability and tend to focus on his potential as a shooter and scorer. It's also his combination of being a playmaker and scorer that has me looking at Reddish's potential as a blend of Penny Hardaway and Paul George. High praise, I know. However, the tools are there. Along with being a good playmaker, Reddish is also a good shooter, has the ability to score from all three levels, especially off the bounce, and is a reliable free throw shooter. That's just his offensive abilities. His potential on defense is where he can truly separate himself from other players in the NBA. With his size at 6'8" and wingspan at a little over 7 feet, Reddish, if he applies himself, could be a potential All-NBA defensive team selection throughout his career. He can defend multiple positions, close out on shooters where contend well at the rim, get steals and deflections, and a part of defense that is ignored, rebound. As I've said, he's a total package. Concerns not just from myself but from many evaluators is with his motor, undisciplined defense at times, and his shooting efficiency. Shooting efficiency, I'm not as worried about as other things due to his good shooting mechanics. Looking at film, Reddish shooting the ball issues wise comes when he fades and forces bad shots. Those are easily correctable issues as long as he's open-minded and willing to adjust. The motor, energy, and at times shaky defense is more of an issue. Having a high motor, always being engaged, bringing energy is indeed a skill, and it wins games at every level, especially in the NBA. For an example, see Draymond Green, how his motor and energy lifts Golden State. Reddish has too many instances, even going back to high school, where he, in a sense, is just out there and not being engaged, especially if his shot isn't falling. If he does that at the next level, teams will attack him relentlessly to eliminate him from being a threat for that game. He can't let things not going his way dictate his energy. With that said, let's take a look at Reddish. This play shows Reddish great defensive potential. Florida State guard MJ Walker drives. Duke center Marquez Bowden leaves 7'4" Seminole center Christ Kumaje and steps up to contest Walker at the basket. Reddish correctly drops down to the paint to be in position to steal a drop-off pass from Walker to Kumaje for a potential dunk. Walker adjusts in the air and finds forward Phil Kofor, spotting him from three-point range. Reddish hustles out to contest Kofor, forcing a difficult shot that Kofor makes. Even though Florida State comes away with points, Reddish displays his ability to cover ground defensively when he's engaged. Duke forward Javin DeLaurier fumbles the ball in transition, taking away an easy two. Reddish runs to an open spot so DeLaurier can see him and calls for the ball, hands ready to shoot. DeLaurier finds Reddish and Reddish knocks down the triple. Reddish shooting mechanics is strong and with work will help him become an efficient shooter at the next level. Florida State point guard David Nichols is out on a break and decides to attack the basket. Trey Jones gets back with Reddish right behind him. Jones cuts Nichols off, forcing him to slow up and adjust his layup attempt, allowing a hustling Reddish to come from behind and block Nichols' shot. Jones receives the pass and pushes up the floor to RJ Barrett, who drives and misses the lay-in, but Marquez Bowden is there to clean it up. That entire offensive sequence was made possible by Reddish hustle on defense. Once again, Reddish shows his great potential on defense on the defensive end when he's locked in and engaged. Out in transition, RJ Barrett passes to Reddish on the wing. Reddish drives strong, using his size to overpower Florida State 6'6" freshman Anthony Polite for the bucket. This shows that Reddish isn't afraid to bully defenders if necessary, using his size to his advantage. As he gets stronger throughout his years in the NBA, this will become a regular occurrence. Reddish awaits for the Laurier screen. Reddish comes off the pick and is patient, sizing up Florida State 6'10" forward Mfiondu Kabengele. Kabengele doesn't take away Reddish airspace, fearing his potential drive, and he has his hands down. Easy read for Reddish as he knocks down the mid-range jumper. Reddish's ability to score from all three levels will be a welcome thing in a now three-pointer happy NBA. Reddish pushes the ball up the court. Now he's in a groove, and once again, a Seminole defender, 6'7" guard Terrence Mann is back on his heels with his hands down. Reddish doesn't hesitate once again. He rises up and knocks down a triple. This tells me Reddish has a killer instinct that when he feels an opponent's on the rope, he has no problem putting the dagger in him. With Florida State Laws trying to stay with Barrett, they lose Reddish, allowing him to run free to the corner and knock down the game-winning three-pointer. Again, he showed a killer instinct. He didn't hesitate. He was on balance, squared up to the basket, held a follow-through all net. He has all the tools necessary to thrive in the NBA offensively. He just needs to stay in kill mode to maximize his abilities. Negatives. Hartford guard J.R. Lynch drives in the lane. Reddish is in a good position to step in to either stop the ball or set up for a potential charge. He doesn't step in at all. Instead, he watches as Lynch gets to the rim for a potential lay-in. Lynch misses. However, Reddish, not being aware, doesn't box out 6'8" George Blagovic, who slides in for the offensive rebound and is fouled on the shot attempt after. This time, Reddish is defending Blagovic out on the perimeter. Blagovic drives left. Reddish does a good job of moving his feet, but Gamber's trying to get the steal. Blagovic instinctively spins into the lane and gets a shot up, which is called a goaltend by Marquise Boda, who came over and rotated over to block it. Reddish has to be more sound defensively because it can compromise the team defense greatly. Pick and roll situation between Lynch and 6'8" John Carroll. As Carroll slips a screen, Bowden tells Reddish to stay with Carroll while he picks up Lynch. Lynch, knowing he has the advantage with his speed, drives and gets his step on Bowden. Reddish once again doesn't step into the lane to stop ball and force a pass out of a tough shot or to set up for a charge. Bowden does his best to recover with a block attempt, but he picks up a foul instead. Defensive awareness has to improve. This is just a poor closeout on Hartford's ultra-quick point guard, J.R. Lynch. There's a saying, low man wins, and Reddish clearly runs out standing tall. Lynch is already low and sees Reddish closing out, and he doesn't waste any time. Lynch drives right with really no resistance from Reddish to stop midway after he's beat and gets an easy layup. Good to great defenders stop the first move nearly every time. Reddish got beat off a basic drive. No counter dribbles necessary. In the lane, that's a nasty dunk and something the opposing player or opposing team will look to exploit time and time again. This can't ever happen. Reddish can go anywhere from 4 to the Lakers to 10 to the Hawks. Washington may have a shot at him if there aren't any bigs they feel confident enough in to make an immediate impact. Reddish might be the player to take. He could help take the load off of Bill and Wall when he returns offensively and be a welcome addition defensively where he can defend the 2, 3, and some 4s. For a team in desperate need of talent and a limited amount of cap space to do so, drafting well is a must, preferably for a player with an all-NBA ceiling.